Greetings people, it's Paul Greenshire Homestead. Going to talk to you today about herbs. We grow our own herbs. We use them fresh, but throughout the growing season. But then we also dry them. So I'm going to show you how we dry them, and then I'm going to show you how we use those dry herbs. This is our basement, and like I mentioned in my root cellar video, I don't store my onions in the root cellar. I store them down here in the basement. And onions aren't herbs, but they're hanging here with them. That's why I'm talking about them. I bind them with the twine here. See how they're tied there? And then my wife just comes down with a pair of scissors when she wants an onion, cuts it right off. And so that's what we've got here, is our onions stored. And then right next to the onions, we've got our herbs dried, and that's what we're here to talk about. So I run a screw up into the floor joist there, and then I take baling twine, and I run that baling twine all the way across the joist, and then I got another screw right there. So the baling twine is real tough stuff, and it'll hold a lot of weight. Not that the herbs are heavy, but it'll last a long time. And what I do to bind the herbs together is these large binder clips. I've got some medium ones too, but the large ones are better. They hold stronger, and of course more herbs can go on the larger ones. So that's what I use. I've used rubber bands and different things, and twine and different things in the past to tie the herbs together, but the binder clips work the best. And the reason is because when you put your herbs on there, of course they're full of moisture, so the stems are swollen. And as the herb dries and the moisture is released, the stem shrinks. Now, I can pull on this. See, I can pull on that, and I'm pulling hard enough, it's shaking the entire line. And none of the herbs are coming out of there, because that binder clip, the pressure that it closes with is tremendous. So even down here, you got the binder clip there. Look at the size of that cilantro. That's a whole cilantro plant that's hanging there. And I can pull on that thing, and you can see in the shadow everybody bouncing. But that's how hard the binder clips hold. They really work well. And this parsley, listen, you can see it's nice and crunchy. Everything here is bone dry. It's been in here since, this has all been here since October. This is just the last of what I harvested before the frost came and killed. So like I said, we use them throughout the season, our herbs, for fresh eating and drinks and food and all that kind of thing. But just before the frost comes in and kills everything, I cut everything off and bring it in here and dry it. So the only thing I've got in here right now is cilantro, parsley, and oregano. The basil and everything else has already been put up, but that's what I've got in here right now. So I'm going to take you over to our canning station down here in the basement and show you how I get the leaves off and how we store those. So I'm in this is our canning station down here in the basement, and we've got some oregano right here. And to harvest that, it's as simple as that. I've got 2 stems here. You just run it right off. 2 here. Just wash your hands and sterilize the countertop. And that's all you got there. That oregano is real easy, real simple. See, there's all the empty stems. And I got all my leaves here. So I find my oregano. These are peanut butter jars. That's all they are. Just your peanut butter jars that we recycle. We use them for our dry beans, our dry herbs, our dry peppers, all kinds of things. We've probably got 200 of these peanut butter jars that we have that we use, and you can just write on the jar right on there. This is oregano from 21. This is 22, but I threw a little bit of that in there. I haven't made a jar for 2022 yet. This one's oregano from 16. That's 6-year-old jar right there. you can see there's nothing wrong with that oregano. It is not moldy, mildewy, or anything at all. And if you could smell that, smells as fresh as the day I put it in there. Once these things are stone dry, they will keep for years and years and years and years. I've got lemon basil, I've got 2 things of oregano, I got dillweed, I've got cilantro and parsley. Now with the parsley, it's not as easy to shuck as the oregano. Parsley and basil, the leaves kind of stick to the stems a lot better. So there's the base stem. That one came off real nice. And like these leaves are a little less, they're a little lighter green. That's not a problem. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them. This was just probably on the bottom of the plant, so it didn't get as much sunlight, and that's why it's a little lighter green. Now when I shuck this, see that stem came apart, and that stem broke. So I've still got stem here with the 3 leaves on it, and that's why I say it's a little more difficult, but it's not a big deal. So I grabbed those 2, that leaf there off the top, and then those 2 there. See, there's my stem that had the 3 leaves on it. So it's not difficult, it just can be a little more time consuming. Now that one, see, they all came off real nice. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, and basil's the same way. They all came off again. And again. Oh, that one did not. So here I have a stem, it's got 2 leaves on it. So now if you have the stem still in there, it's not a problem. Especially like if you're going to make tea. We make a lot of tea with our herbs, because the tea doesn't care if the stem's in there, and you're not going to be, you're going to put it in the tea bag, and the stem's going to be contained by the tea bag. So the stem's not going to hurt you. But if you got company coming over and you've made some stew, and they're eating their stew or their soup, and all of a sudden they got a stem in their mouth. That's why you want to make sure you get all the stems, because you don't want your guests eating the stem. They'll wonder what the heck, what kind of thing are you cooking? So again, you got that all, your pile there. You just put it right in the jar, and that's it. This is obviously a glass jar. It's just your regular canning jar. That's all there is to that. With the oregano, of course, the leaves are very small, but with the parsley, you got much bigger leaves here. So you may want to leave the leaves whole, or you may want to grind them down. It depends on what you're using them for. But if you do need to grind your leaves, a simple, smaller size food processor, and I find a coffee grinder works real well. Those the smaller coffee grinders where you put enough in for to make a cup of cappuccino, and you push the little button and it goes, those work real good for grinding herbs. Real simple, just grab it out, put some herbs in there, do that a couple of times, and you're all set. But we also have one of those Ninjas food processors. They work real good if you have a whole bunch of herbs that you want to grind up. You pack them all into the Ninja and kick that thing on, and it takes care of it. But this is how we store them in bulk down here in the basement. We put them in these peanut butter jars, and we stick them in the cabinet yonder. And we have the small mason jars upstairs in a drawer. That's real handy for my wife when she's cooking, or if we want to make tea. So we're going to go upstairs. I'm going to show you that, and I'm going to put these away. So we're up here in the kitchen. Like I say, we like to make tea. So I've got the tea steeping there. We buy these. These are reusable tea bags. You can use them once, or you can reuse them. And they got a wide opening on the top here, and then they got a drawstring. So after you fill your tea bag, you just pull the drawstring, and there you go. You can tie that shut if you like to, but I don't, because once I have used the tea bag a few times, I'll flip it inside out like this and get all the herbs out of there and put them in my compost bucket, and then flip it back around, and I can refill it again to use. So I'll use them several times. Some people don't like to do that kind of thing, but I do. And we've got our herbs right here. And, I mentioned these little jars. Like there's basil, and oregano. And I like the lemon basil for my teas. I'll use lemon basil, oregano, and parsley, and that's a nice herbal tea there. I also like to use the rosemary. I use lemon basil in pretty much all of it, because it gives you that lemony flavor. But you got your thyme and your rosemary; those make nice teas as well, along with the lemon basil. So you put your teas in there, and then you just steep your bag. And we've got our honey here, and you can put some honey in there too. So when when my wife's cooking, they're all right here handy. She's got her stew or her chili or soup or whatever. She's got it cooking right here. It's all the herbs are all right here handy. And then if we got company coming over where we're serving something like, say, spaghetti, and they like a little extra oregano in their spaghetti or a little extra thyme, we can stick these out on the table, and then people can dip in there and get a little extra herbs and put them on their stuff. People like that. They see those fresh dried herbs there, and they're like, wow, that's pretty cool, and they like to do that. So we use the herbs all through the season fresh, and then at the end of the season we come through and we just harvest everything, take it down in the basement and dry it. Those herbs that you saw down in the video have been down there since October, and this is the end of February. So they're going to take about 6 weeks to dry, but you don't have to put them in the jars right away. Like I said, those have been down there since October, and they're fine. They're there's no spiders or bugs or anything getting in them. It's not a big deal. We've got a nice clean basement. If you do have an old musty basement, you're going to want to get them in the jars quicker. But that all just depends on your given situation. So they will keep indefinitely. That one jar I showed you was already 6 years old, and once they're dry, if you keep the lid on where nothing can get in them, and you keep them in an area where it's not real humid, you're good to go. So that's how we use our herbs. That's how we dry our herbs, and I just wanted to give you some ideas on how we do things here at Greenshire. You incorporate your ideas in with ours, and I thank you for watching. Good luck with your herbs, and we'll see you next time at Greenshire.